It's a living museum of architecture, home to the first and some of the tallest skyscrapers in the world.
Its river is the only one in the world to be redirected by engineers nearly 100 years ago to flow backwards.
It's a city that's in love with sports, even though they have a baseball team that hasn't won the World Series since 1908.
It's got the blues, its arms and shores are wide open. There's nothing else like Chicago.
Hello world, I've been waiting for a chance to see your face. Oh, hello world, I am ready for a different kind of place. And I'm flying to somewhere else, 'cause I'm searching for something else. And I'm leaving, I don't know where I'm gonna land. Oh no, yes, I'm leaving, I don't know where I'm gonna land.
We're in what's been called America's City. The city on the lake, the city of broad shoulders, the Windy City, the sprawling metropolis of Chicago, Illinois. Hi everybody, welcome to Travelers. I'm Patrick Michael.
I'm Michelle Kruzik.
And I'm Pierce Bunning. More than any other city in the United States, Chicago was built upon the industrial will and might of America's 19th century aspirations. Its location on Lake Michigan and its proximity to rivers flowing into the Mississippi made it a transportation hub for the expanding country's steel spine of railroad. It started out as a wide open place, ready for anyone with the guts and know-how to make something out of the vast expanse of North America's Midwest.
Like America itself, Chicago has felt its ups and downs of growth and prosperity. Much of the city was leveled by the devastating fire of 1871, and Chicago became an architectural blank slate that grew back like nothing the world had ever seen.
In some ways, it just never stopped growing. Nearly 8 million people live in the metropolitan area, in one of the most ethnically diverse populations anywhere in the U.S. It's got a world-class symphony orchestra, more museums, cultural events, theater, history, art, music, and restaurants than you could ever possibly see in a lifetime. But we're here to just get a slice of this deep dish of a truly great American city. Welcome to Chicago.
Chicago's unique in that it's Midwestern, so it's got a certain friendliness to it, but it's also a big urban city, so it's got that kind of sophistication.
It's a place where you can come and talk to strangers, and it's a place where no one's rude or nobody has an attitude.
How would you describe the city of Chicago?
Busy.
How do you feel about the lake?
It's wet.
It's probably the nicest city I think I've ever been in. People are actually nice here. They're friendly.
Winters suck, but winters suck, but the summers definitely make up for it.
This is winter in the summer, but tomorrow it may be spring.
That's Chicago.
Well, you know, Chicago, you wait 5 minutes, the weather changes. That's what's so exciting about it.
There's always something to do, and it doesn't cost a lot of money.
A little bit of everything in Chicago. Anything you're looking for, it's here.
Yeah?
And the streets are cleaner.
The city of Chicago made a wise decision many years ago. It decided to give the shores of Lake Michigan to the people. But this is no ordinary lake. It's 300 miles long, 118 miles across. In some places, it's 900 feet deep. And within Chicago city limits, there's 30 miles of coastline. In fact, it's America's third coast. But it's Chicago's front yard and playground. And on a beautiful summer day, there's a lot more to look at than water.
North Avenue Beach has a fitness club, Lakeside Fitness. And that's exactly what it is, a great big gym right out on the sand.
Hi, how are you? I'm Michelle.
Hey, Michelle, I'm Gloria. Nice meeting you.
Good, good. This is Patrick.
Hey,
Hi.
Patrick, how are you?
We were thinking of joining the class.
Well, hey, you can do it. This is going to be very simple, a lot of fun, you know, some dancing, but it's very easy. Don't worry about it.
I'm already worried.
Is the music ready? I think so. So let's go.
I was so far out of my league. I am by far the fattest cat right out there, and I gotta try and keep up with these guys. And every one of them is stunning. They're beautiful. I was breathing heavy before the class even started. Once again, I'm gonna get in the back and just try to keep up. If I can keep up and not drop over dead so that the girls have to carry me out, things will be good.
What's fun about Gloria's class is that it's not so much about the moves, although her moves are fantastic. They're really, they're very Latin influenced and they're very sensual and sexy, but it's the attitude that goes with those moves. And I just wasn't sure if I was fulfilling the attitude because everybody else in the class was fulfilling that attitude.
Chicago has the second largest population of Poles in the world after Warsaw. A lot of polka music up north. The Busy Bee is this incredible little Polish restaurant in Wicker Park in Chicago, right by one of the L tracks. They specialize in homemade Polish food. The queen bee of the Busy Bee is a woman named Sophie. She's the one who started the Busy Bee. And her story is this classic immigrant story that becomes the American dream. How long has it been here for?
Too long. About 33 years.
She's an extraordinary woman, huge heart. If you've ever been to Poland, you meet people like this. It's just, they're generous people. Why did you start a restaurant here?
That's a good question. I don't know. I like to be with people. Maybe that's why. And I was tired of working in a factory, so.
The thing about Sophie is that she's seen the absolute worst, and now she's enjoying the best part of her life. Who's this?
That's the future boss.
Hey.
That's my great-grandson.
Hey, bring him up here.
Hi, Christian. Come on. Come on to Baba. Say hello.
He's the future boss of the...
Yes, he is.
So this is a family operation you got
Yes.
here.
Everybody works.
Sophie's son Hank works back in the kitchen. He's this real kind of this deep voice kind of a guy with a mustache and glasses, and he's real funny, and he loves his mom, and he loves working with her, and he loves being a cook.
She was here at 5 every day. She worked till 1:30, then she went out to the front. She was the cashier till 8 o'clock till closing. She worked 14 hours a day, 7 days a week for I don't know how many years. She worked in a meatpacking plant for 10 years. She was always a very good cook. So the opportunity arose for her to buy the restaurant, and she came and she changed the recipes, brought her own recipes in. We started making pierogi, potato pancakes, and stuffed cabbages, gołąbkis.
Hey, can I try making a couple of these things?
Sure.
Well,
Take one
Yes.
meatball.
Yes? Yeah. Okay.
Mocno ścisnąć jak kobietę.
So you have to squeeze hard like you're squeezing your girlfriend.
They said, you want to sit down and have some lunch at the counter? I said, sure, I'd love to. I'm starving after seeing all this food. I don't think this is enough for me.
2 more plates full. Stuffed cabbage.
The spread they put down in front of me could have fed a whole company of people. How am I possibly going to eat all this food?
Well, try.
I've eaten live things before, you know, insects,
Really?
Oh, in different countries, but I've never been faced with a task like this. I'm eating all this food alone right now. You better kick in here, buddy.
Let's see, I need a little plate. These are my favorite, the sauerkraut. Can I have a little plate, Mom, please?
Yes, dear.
I'd like a rubber chocolate donut, some doggy dew, a brain candle, and 8 glowing squirt heads, please. Shopping in Chicago. Next on Travelers.
One of the world's premier high-end shopping districts is this stretch of Michigan Avenue between the Chicago River and Oak Street. It's called the Magnificent Mile, and it can match any upscale retail shopping area. Prestigious department stores, boutiques, and specialty shops from all over the world. And it's a great place to promenade, to see and be seen, and it's a serious shopper's paradise. But on the other side of town, Pierce and Michelle found a quiet little place tucked away in a North Side neighborhood that takes its assortment of merchandise just as seriously.
Hi,
Hello,
I'm Michelle.
I'm Uncle Fun. Nice to meet you.
Uncle Fun.
Fun.
You can call me Unc. Or you can call me Fun.
His real name is Ted Frankel, but the store is called Uncle Fun.
I went to this store that was going out of business, a toy store, and the guy goes, all or nothing. And I said, I'll take it all. And I opened a little store, and it's grown over the last 20 years. I started with toys and novelties, which it still is, but lots of weird little stuff so you can come in, spend a quarter, and have a really good time.
Right. But do you start with things like whoopee cushions and build up from there? Or
we call those the classics. Look, nice big pictures, really easy to color, but if you don't have crayons, sucks up the red, sucks up the blue, a little purple, yellow. All the pictures are colored.
Love that.
Now, which one's the creative person here? The artist?
It's questionable. That's
Questionable.
what day of the week.
Well, if you want to draw your own pictures, you just touch it to something empty like my head. Nothing in there. All the pictures disappear.
Wait a second, how does it work?
Oh, the magic. We have little...
Oh, it's the famous lying mirror.
I was really comfortable in that place. It felt like a kid's sandbox where you could just hang out and play with everything.
Where do most of the good gags come from? What part of the world? Is it Japan?
I don't think there is a part of the world for gags. Gags are universal. They come from all over. It can be like a rubber chicken, which was invented in the United States. Plastic vomit, which was actually invented right here in Chicago. And do you remember the wind-up chattering teeth?
Yeah.
Also invented in Chicago. Chicago's famous for a lot of gags.
Snotty nose is not going to fool anybody. Fart candy.
Okay.
That'll come in handy in the van. Sin glasses. Here we go.
They're lady legs. You wrap them right around your head.
Heaven, I'm in heaven. He's the master of one-liners.
They're for the broad view of the world.
All right, Uncle Fun, I think I know what I want.
Oh, do you have a Kleenex?
Here, let me give you a hand.
Ugh, you're as sick as I am.
That's nasty, but I love it.
Oh, what's that thing hanging from your nose there?
Oh, it's not.
I bought a whoopee cushion. I bought fake dog dew, fake kitty dew. Anything that would come in handy on the road.
And I got you guys 2 dates. They're really cheap, just $1.
All right. Throw them in the bag.
Great.
All right, listen, can you break 100?
100, anything smaller? Oh, not that small. Sorry. Won't work. You had a good time?
Yes.
Had a great time.
Thank you very much.
I'm on my way to the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, where the frantic buying and selling of futures and frozen pork bellies and live cattle are traded next to the world's currencies, stock indexes, and interest rates. It's all pretty complicated, but I'm going to get inside there, and I'm going to figure out just how this great engine of capitalism really works.
Most of the agricultural producers brought their product to Chicago because it was a hub of transportation. And what would happen is we would end up with all those products here at the same time. So what spawned the futures markets was speculators would come in and say, I will give you a price for your product sometime in the future. I'm locking in a price for my product before I even produce it.
Okay. What a pummeling. I mean, what a beating just to enter that room. I met this guy named Neil right there on the floor. He's a commodities trader. He deals in lean pork futures. He started there years ago as an intern and just sort of worked the floor and gradually started climbing the ladder. And now he's a personal trader. And I went right outside the lean pork pit, and suddenly they brought me right up into the center. The trading was going in, on, and around all over me. 20 on 2, 20 on 2, 20 on 2. I'll take it. Buy it, sell it, go now, fast. For 8 hours a day, could you take that? Would you just not explode?
It's 20 minutes since the bell rang, and I'm still a little jumpy. And that's the feeling you get.
My heart is pounding, and I didn't do anything.
I have 4 or 5 brokers trying to take care of their customers' orders, and then you've got 20 or 30 guys like me who are just trying to buy and sell for their own account, yelling and screaming and trying to make as much money as they can.
Now, I met another guy on the floor named James, who was a stocks trader. And James is a real interesting fellow because he seems very calm on the outside, but when you see him in action, he's a ball of fire.
Hey, Reba, check him up!
And he's standing out there on the floor just throwing these numbers back and forth and making money.
Morgan Stanley buying.
What would lead you into something like that? Why jump into that chaos?
The adrenaline. There's nothing like it. If you have real good trades on and you're making money, it's the best feeling in the world.
But you notice he can't take his eye off of the board. How do you let this go? Because I'm watching you. You can't take your eyes off that. Come on.
I can't. I watch my partner. I watch what the market's doing. I want to make sure everything's okay.
And when it's over, though, okay, the 4 o'clock comes. How do you let go of all that?
I go home and I run with my dog. I sit down with my fiance, I watch a movie.
Okay.
I don't bring work home with me.
But when you sleep at night,
I sleep like
are numbers running through your head?
Nope, sleep like a baby. You can't let that happen to you. You'll never sleep. You'll be grouchy. I'm never grouchy. They say if you're down here a year, you'll be down here the rest of your life. That's a saying down here. But on the average, it's about 5 to 8 years as a trader. I've seen people make a lot of money and retire at the age of 35 years old.
But after you've lived life in the pit, how do you retire?
Some people actually don't. They just keep calling in. They sit in Orlando, Florida, or they sit in Colorado on the phone and make phone calls and call the floor and trade. But, you know what? I got to get back into the pit. Pat, it was a pleasure meeting you.
Hey, go make some money.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks.
This is not a typical poetry reading.
How many don't want him to continue?
Next on Travelers. The Green Mill Jazz Club on Broadway is a Chicago legend. It opened in 1907, and the look and feel hasn't changed much throughout the years. Always known as one of the best jazz clubs in the city. It was once owned by Machine Gun Jack McGurn, and Al Capone used to visit here, among other Chicago notables. Today it showcases the best in local and national jazz of every genre, but it's also the birthplace of a Chicago twist on the ancient art of poetry.
They know that it's the Neo Night Riders promising to ride their nightmares until we could all live them like we used to in the good old days when the have-nots were the forced prostitution of the status quo.
Poetry readings are generally really quiet and dull. This is not a typical poetry reading. The Slam is a poetry competition. It's a no-holds-barred experience for the audience and for the performer.
I don't need your charity chiclets. Thanks. I've got my own to give away.
It's run by this guy named Mark Smith, who I would say is, well, he's certainly an urban poet. He comes from a working class background. He was a construction worker. He started writing poems because he went to poetry readings and didn't like what he heard. Mark, tell me about the slam. Where did it all start?
Started right where you're at, right here in Chicago. It's everything. It's from the rowdiest to the most sensitive stuff. And the big thing about it is that the audience is allowed to respond honestly to what they hear.
It's terrifying, isn't it? For people to be up on stage.
I never do it.
You don't?
I don't compete ever.
Really?
Oh, no, I did it twice. I hated it.
Twice?
I only did it twice.
How long has it been going on for?
11 years.
Twice?
That's all.
Oh, man.
No way, man. You gotta be crazy to do that.
If you, the audience, don't like something, you can express yourself in several manners. If you don't like it a little bit, you snap your fingers. If you don't like it a little bit more, you stomp your feet. If it's got awful bad, you groan. But if it gets so bad, so very, very bad, it becomes good, you snap your fingers, stomp your feet, groan, and yell.
When you're up there reading your poetry and it's totally silent, you know that you're doing it.
It is early in the hours of my kind of morning. Quiet type where my creative process is given time to try and find something new to say.
So this guy got up and did his thing, and at first I thought he was really good. I heard some great phrases. I said, man, I'm smoked.
And when I decide to go on a bender, it's rather unfortunate to remember that the bartender's going to ask me for some green instead of entreating me to explain just what did Lao Tzu mean when he wrote to the gatekeeper about the Tao.
This guy was just too long.
I find it personally decidedly disagreeable and independently studied.
People were moaning, and then he'd pause and start again, and people would moan more. I heard everything that could possibly happen to me during that first guy's poem.
How many want Paul to continue? How many don't want him to continue? A tie. Keep going, Paul.
I found out that I was the first TV guy to have the courage to get up there and do my poetry.
Let's see what the big TV guy who's on a national TV program like every young person in America wants to be on TV. Let's see what he can do. Welcome up, Pierce Bunting.
Hey, you spelled my name wrong.
Good.
Lose the anger, pet the puppy. Thank you.
Pierce gets up there and he opens up his book of poetry and he's trying to justify the whole thing. He's trying to give this whole tale about why he wrote this. And they just go, hey, read the poem.
I'd like to pick up my guitar and play a song, but I don't want to wreck the image.
And he was willing to go out there, stand on that stage, and tell me what's really going on in his mind, in his heart, after you cut the lights out.
And I could be John Lennon, except I don't have a point of view.
Pierce impressed me. I know he's an artistic guy to begin with, but I was impressed that he was able to put it in the form of poetry.
Digging my fingernails into the carpet so I don't float away with the rest of the no-nut honkers on the street, thinking they'll get rewarded for all the good deeds they've done.
Pierce, judges score.
And when it was over, I got a pretty decent score, enough to win the round. But then the ringer from Oklahoma, this guy who is just kind of meek and mild, totally connected to his poetry.
Living and working at a distance where the longing can be managed. I live my life and I do my job. I wait for my turn to set a stone, building a bridge to you.
Little gems, this guy spoke, and he was my favorite person I've been hearing all night.
I will seek out the scattered pieces and build and work and live and love as day and night allow.
Marty Marks. I like that. I like that.
So it ended up being between him and me. I almost won the poetry slam, which is totally blowing my mind. If I had, I wouldn't have thought I deserved it. And I was so glad that this guy won, because he really did deserve it. He's a serious poet.
We scammed him! Marty Marks, everybody. Thank you and good night, everybody. Carter Luke, my name's Mark Smith. So what? Thanks.
Oh, I got the best seat in the house at Wrigley Field. Next on Travelers.
Who knows? It may be the weather, the hard-working ethic, the rivalry of the neighborhoods, or everybody in this city coming together under the banner of the home team. But Chicago is a passionate sports town. Late-night basketball for inner-city kids, volleyball on the lakeshore, or their very own balloon-sized 16-inch softball leagues. It's all part of the heart and the soul of Chicago city life.
They're the Bears in football, the Blackhawks in hockey, and of course the brightest spot in Chicago's recent sports history is the NBA's championship dynasty of the Chicago Bulls. Within 7 seasons, the Bulls won 5 national championships, all led by Chicago's best-known international celebrity, Michael Jordan.
The real fan loyalty comes through in America's favorite pastime, baseball. On the south side of Chicago is Comiskey Park, home of the White Sox, a team that hasn't won the World Series since 1917. And here in the north side neighborhood is Wrigley Field, the friendly confines, home of the Chicago Cubs. Now, the Cubs haven't won the World Series since 1908, but that doesn't keep over 2 million fans a year from coming out here to catch a game in a way that no other ballpark can match. I don't know where I'm going. Now you must be a Cubs fan.
I am a diehard Cub fan.
Why?
They're the best.
I think Cubs fans should be blessed because they really know how to live on the faith.
They're not this typical big-time baseball people. They're the little people's ball teams. I love them, and I still think they're going to win the division this year.
I'm a diehard, so gotta stick with them. Nothing compares to this place. I mean, you come here, it's a neighborhood, you've got everybody here, everybody's into it, it's the best place.
Because it's almost an antique stadium, it's still got that feeling, that nostalgia, that old 20s and 30s feel, the ivy on the wall, the bricks, and the hand-lettered scoreboard. All the numbers are still turned by hand there. You go up inside there, and it's their old steel plates that some guy has marked himself. Brian? Hey,
how you
Brian,
doing?
I'm Patrick.
Hey.
Nice to meet you, man.
Nice meeting you.
Up inside the scoreboard, I met Brian, this guy that turns the numbers. Listen, you don't mind me telling you, you got one of the best jobs in the whole world.
You think so?
I know so. Look at this view. I know there's been talk of putting in a great big digital display board up in here so that you can see instant replays and all that stuff. How would you feel about that?
Oh, I don't know. Of course, I wouldn't like it. A lot of fans, I don't think, would. They kind of like this. It's like it's part of the ballpark.
One of the neat things about Wrigley Field is that it doesn't just give you the score of the Cubs and whoever they're playing. It gives you the top 4 National League and the top 4 American League scores.
Right here, that would be a 0. So 0's all you have to do is turn them around, slip them in. Okay.
Hey man, it gets kind of hot up here. I'm not lying to you.
Oh, it's hot. Today's a nice day, actually. You should be up here when it's in the 90s.
Oh boy.
It's over 100
You could
in
make
here.
bread in here, man. It's really old, it's really rusty, and it gives you the feeling of being there probably in the 30s. They're kind of heavy.
Oh, they're solid steel, so they get heavy after a while.
Are these some of the original numbers? I mean, how often do you have to get new numbers?
Oh, these are original. They'll just paint them once in a while, but the steel's all original.
Yeah,
like
that's
the bolts,
been here.
1937, I think. 38.
Wow. It's a real piece of history there. I hope the fans never let it change. I hope that they stand up and say, look, this is what's good about Wrigley Field.
Across Sheffield Avenue, just over the right field fence, are a number of four-story apartment buildings. Above Murphy's Bleachers is just one of many rooftop views where private parties gather to enjoy the ball game from some prime real estate.
Cubs are down 7-5, but they have a good scoring chance. First and second, nobody out. Last of the 8th inning.
I decided to head over to the rooftop above Murphy's Bleachers. They were having their own private party there, and I talked to some of the people who were attending the party and just hanging out with them. What's it like to live in a building that's next to Wrigley Field?
It's great. It's great from April until late September, and if we're lucky enough to go to October, it's a great thing. You gotta like baseball, though.
Being at these rooftop parties, it's like going to a barbecue in your backyard and just having the advantage of seeing a Major League Baseball game.
You could sit from downstairs on our 3rd floor and look out the window, and the ball game was going on.
What's the best advantage of being here at a rooftop party watching the game?
Plenty of beer.
Don't they serve beer over there?
They do, but it's not as quite as expensive.
Oh, yeah.
We're going for the sweep today. It's the first time in a long time we took that doubleheader yesterday, so hopefully we knock them off today and get all 3 from these boys.
How are we doing now?
We're down 2 going into the 8th inning.
And what are you feeling? I know they haven't been doing too well lately.
Well, as a lifelong Cub fan, it's something that we just learned to deal with all these years, you know, and we take the good with the bad. We still come out and enjoy ourselves, especially up here on the rooftops.
So what's the whole connection between Chicago and sports? Why are
Chicagoans are very passionate about their teams. There's a tradition. Your father grows up a Cubs fan, you grow up a Cubs fan.
You know, we've learned to lose gracefully, so to speak. If it ever gets to the point where we get there and get to the World Series and win the big one, this town will go up for grabs. But we've learned our lessons over the years, so we're kind of humble in that respect. We take the good with the bad. So, you know, we're praying that someday in our lifetime we will get to the big game, as they say.
I've been canoeing before, but never through the streets of downtown Chicago. Next on Travelers. Chicago is the world's capital of modern architecture. Even where we're staying, the Blackstone Hotel on Michigan Avenue is a prime example of the glorious days when a hotel could be viewed as a piece of art.
Every time I come here, I'm completely blown away by the architecture. It's the first thing you see.
Hello everyone, welcome to my spaceship.
The John Hancock Center stands at 1,127 feet above Michigan Avenue, truly one of Chicago's architectural wonders. Right now, we're traveling up the fastest elevator in North America.
1,800 feet per minute, 3 floors per second, 23 miles per hour. And you can feel it.
94th floor, observatory.
Hancock Observatory.
When we first saw the view, I don't know if I was just a little knocked off from this fast elevator ride or whether it was being so close to the glass and being that high up. But I don't usually get vertigo, but I felt like I was going to fall over or that the building was going to fall over. It's that tall. And you can also walk around inside of the observation center.
And there are these huge wall installations put up that document the history of Chicago.
Chicago does not restore, it makes something wildly different. That's great.
This is an exact replica, not life-size, of the cow that started the famous Chicago fire of 1871. Meh. Whoops. You can go outside to this observation deck that's got kind of a mesh cage around it, but you can hear the city sounds and feel the hot wind blow in your face. You can hear everything.
Yep, it's the city, all right. I'm feeling kind of, like, shaky. There are a number of access points to the Chicago River. The one that we chose was in the middle of a residential area. And I met David Jones. He's with Friends of the Chicago River. That's a civic organization that is trying to rejuvenate the image of the river. Did I find the right place, David?
Yes, you came to the right place. We're in Ravenswood, a neighborhood in the middle of the north side of the city of Chicago. And down here is the north branch of the Chicago River.
There it is.
There it is, just floating through here. It started something like 40 or 50 miles up to the north. And by the time it gets here, there's a little bit of a current, and it's wide enough to can't even jump across it. We're on the north side. We're several miles north of downtown. So we'll be heading downstream, down to the loop. Let's go downtown.
So
let's go downtown in the canoe.
Okay.
All right. Accommodate on the other side.
How long is the Chicago River?
Well, it depends on how you define the Chicago River. It starts behind us about 40 miles west of Waukegan, and then it goes down into the loop and heads on to the southwest, and the river becomes a canal. It turns into the Sanitary and Ship Canal, which connects the Great Lakes to the Mississippi system.
The scenery was beautiful. It was pretty, lots of bushes, trees. You could tell that you were in a residential area.
This part of the river maybe had a little bit of commercial transportation on it, but that's pretty much gone now. Now it's used for recreation.
Do a lot of people use the river right now?
Oh, I don't think so. There should be more people paddling on the river, more people bicycling along it. And of course, as the Water Reclamation District cleans up the river, you'll find more and more fish. The fisheries guys at the Water Reclamation District have now found over 50 species of fish in the river.
As the ride progressed, the scenery changed. You go from bushes, trees, to a more industrial part of Chicago. I was expecting this quaint, charming canoe ride, and instead, David took me along the route that really shows you Chicago, where you could see all of the industry.
This is still part of the working river, and we're loading onto this barge right here scrap iron that comes from recycling projects. The scrap iron goes onto this barge and eventually heads over to Asia, to Japan and Korea, where they will take this recycled metal and form it into Hyundais and Toyotas and Hondas, and we'll get it right back again. I love this. I think it's just really remarkable. The river's getting cleaner and cleaner. I think there's really a renaissance here of the river. We still have the lakefront. The lakefront's still very nice, but you get the impression that if you drink champagne over on the lakefront, here on the river you drink beer. This is still a working river.
I think we're causing a traffic jam.
Yeah, we are. We're causing a traffic jam.
Thanks a lot. Thank you. Anytime a big boat passes through, the boat has right of way. So you can see all the traffic above on the road. They've got to stop. They've got to let the boats pass. And so here we were, this little boat, trying to pass through, and they lifted the bridge for us. So that was great. As we approach the downtown area, all the buildings just loom over the river. It's huge.
The North Branch ends here. Off to the right is the South Branch, heading on eventually to the Mississippi River.
And coming in from the left, from the east, is water from Lake Michigan. Now, 100 years ago, in order to save Lake Michigan as a source of clean drinking water for a growing Chicago, they reversed the flow of the south branch of the river by going up to its headwaters and digging the headwaters deeper so that the river, instead of flowing this way, began to flow that way, joining into the Des Plaines River, which joins with the Kankakee to form the Illinois River, and the Illinois River down near St. Louis flows into the Mississippi River.
I can see we're really in Chicago!
You bet we are! I love this place.
Is this where we're ending?
Yep.
All right! If it's in Chicago, having the blues is good.
You better hold it.
Next on Travelers. We're in Logan Square. It's a neighborhood on the northwest side where 13 years ago, an Italian family from Milan decided to open up a blues club. They called it Rosa's, Chicago's friendliest blues lounge.
Michelle and Patrick and I went there and heard this guy named Lil Ed, and this guy is smoking, man.
He's this tiny little dynamo of a guy. And I mean tore that bar up.
Just some fun. Yeah, right. Just some fun. If you want a good thrill, come on right now.
There were maybe 15 people in the club the night we were there. It doesn't matter.
I learned that from my uncle. He always told me to play as well as for 3 as I play for 3,000. And I've kept that in my heart. Blues is a life from here, the heart. And that's why I play from the heart. Because if you don't feel it, you can't play it.
Are you ready for some blues?
It was really cool the way that there weren't that many people. I felt like we were having our own private little band. And the audience that was there, we were really connecting with Lil Ed.
Did you learn from records? Did you just teach yourself? Did your uncle teach you? How did that happen?
I basically, my uncle basically taught me, but I basically watched him a lot and listened. I learned by ear. And everything he played, I listened, and it clicked in here. I seen my uncle walk on tables and jump off of stages, and people were just going, wow. And I wanted that feeling.
Wow.
He's a great performer. He's definitely a crowd pleaser, knows how to play for an audience. When he gets up there, he really shines. You know, his face lights up. When he starts playing on that guitar, you know he gets really connected to his music. And he transforms. He becomes this exhibitionist.
He hopped, he jumped, he strummed, he climbed the bar, tiptoed across it, got down on his knees, and laid back the whole time playing the blues.
And all you can do is just sit there and stare at him and stomp your feet and say, yeah, deliver me, you know. could see blues in a giant stadium, I could see it in a packed club, but that night there was something where I felt I really experienced Chicago blues.
You better hold it, We thank you so much, y'all.
Here we are eating the traditional Vienna hot dog in Chicago underneath the L. And you know that guy sitting back there behind the counter? That's Peter Schiavelli. He's not only the owner of Demon Dogs, he's the manager of the band Chicago.
Wow. Oh, yeah? Well, listen to this. The other night, I figured since we're in Chicago, I should go see the musical Chicago. And it was about old Chicago.
Man, that's nothing. I was so inspired. I got some Chicago blues. Ready? I'm here in Chicago, and it's got a real good time. I hate to leave, but I gotta go.
Maybe you should stay in Chicago a little bit longer, Pat.
I wish I could, man.
Well, we can't. We'll see you next time on Travelers.
Bye. Are you feeling it?